we've got our horse that we like the look of. We've looked at him in the stable. We've checked his legs. We've checked his mouth. We've checked his body. We've checked his behaviour. And we've just brought him outside. More often than not, they will bring a horse out in a chiffney for safety, which is fine. And that's fine because we always use chiffneys with racehorses. They're used to it and it's what we do. But actually Max isn't in one because he's such a good boy. So the next thing I normally do is watch the horse walk. So I'm going to walk down here and then Holly's going to walk towards me and then past me. So I watch the way the horse behaves. I watch the way he carries his head, nice and relaxed. I watch how he's got no back shoes on now because he's going to be sore. So I watch how he places his feet, whether he goes straight, whether he goes off track. I watch whether he's marching in front of Holly. If he's marching in front of Holly, that would tell me that horse is probably the sort of horse that you want for an experienced rider. If he's relaxed and walking nice and loosely next to Holly, you know he's got a fairly good brain and he's thinking about what he's doing. And then I'd ask him to halt again, excuse me, and just stand him on a slightly longer rein and just see how he behaves. You know, if something's moving about, if it's bargy, if it's stressy, you have to factor that in. The horse is at its place that it knows, and if it's still stressy and annoying, then what's it going to be like when you get it home? That's what you have to think. You know, if a horse is behaving difficultly, as when you're looking at it, at the place you're looking at it to get it from, you have to think, will you cope with that when you get it home? So yeah, and then I'd ask him to trot. Now I'm not sure Max is going to trot as well as he can because he had his back shoes off on Tuesday. So hello, I know you're so handsome. And I'd look for the horse to trot up. Thanks, Hole. You can give him a little jog. See how he trots. See how he's moving, how the feet are landing. Max is a little bit like a cat on a hot tin roof with his back feet, but that's okay. So you can accept that because he's going off on his holidays. You listen to the way his feet land, you listen to the rhythm, you watch his behaviour, you watch his general demeanour and what he's thinking. Now, if you get to this point and the horse is relaxed, it's behaving, you like what you've seen, the legs are good, everything is good, you go and tack him up, and you tack him up yourself in the stable, and you make sure when you're tacking that horse up, you can cope with tacking it up. Because I say, if the horse doesn't behave in this situation, then quite frankly, when you get that horse home, it's not going to be what you want, unless you want something that's difficult. So you want to tack your horse up? Lovely. Okay, Hold, if you take the bridle head collar off. First off, make a note of what tack they have on the horse. Look at his face. You want to know he's not going to run away from you when you're putting the bridle on. If the tack is a strong bit and a noseband, you've got to ask some questions. Why is he in that? Why is he in that tack? You want to know he's not going to shove his head in the air. Always need the best model. Oh, he said, this is too small for me, Joe. He's not going to throw his head in the air and try and get away from the bit. Isn't he lovely? You are such a good boy. And you want to know... Oh, he hasn't got a throat lash, Hole. Oh. For filming purposes, we haven't got a throat lash. There you go. You know, we think these things through. You want to make sure he's nice and relaxed, he's not stressed, he's not trying to get away from the bit. You want to make sure he's not worrying about being worked. You know, he's not had the bridle on and he's going to run away from you, because that happens. And then when you put the pads on, he says, hello. Hello, everybody. I'm a film star. Ellen will give you a polo in a minute.
I don't have one.
Oh no, I've got some in my pocket.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, thanks. So she's always got polos. So you put the pads on, you don't want him dipping away, showing that he's got a sore back. You don't want him moving away from the pads going on, showing he's unhappy. Look at his face, he said, I don't understand. When you put the saddle on, you want to make sure he's comfortable. You're okay with that? Do you like that? I promise, I know, I told you you're going on holidays, you are, but you're just a model today. Before you go out in the field. And then the most important thing is doing the girth up. Normally you'd have a breast girth, but anyway. All I want to do is show you doing the girth up. When that horse is girthed up, I always put the stirrup leather over the saddle as well, so if it falls, it's not going to bang you in the head. So when you do the girth up, you don't want to see the horse sucking up and putting his back up, okay? You want to make sure that when that girth is done up, that horse does not react. Step back, please, Boo. And then when you step back. Holly, do you want to take a turn? Yeah. Once the saddle's on, make sure you give that horse a turn in the box. And make sure it doesn't stick its back in the air and react. Because that is a real telltale sign of a horse that's going to have a go when you get on it. And it doesn't matter how many people, thanks Hal, tell you that the horse is a good ride and the horse is well behaved, you have to know that for yourself. So yeah, and then the next thing I would do, which I wouldn't do with Max because he's having a holiday, is get somebody on the horse so you can watch it ridden, but we'll do that with another horse. Thank you, Gabriella.